Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom Nation podcast. And it's another episode of our Freedom Day interviews with Annie Yang. Now, Annie is a on internet personality. She's got a big YouTube channel. She's got a podcast, a lot of different things that she's doing. She's also an author, an award-winning author. We had this discussion before. Annie, welcome to the show, my friend.
Jeff, thanks for having me on today.
I am so happy to have you on. Really excited to hear your story and how you've gotten yourself to where you're at, relatively young. So, I mean, the cool part is, doesn't matter if you're young or old, you can get there if you put in the effort and the work. So why don't you start off telling us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, so I am a child of Chinese working class immigrants.
Hmm.
And so we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And when it came time to deciding which college to go to, when I was like 16, 17, I was just like, I was reading, this was in the year 2010, stories of people coming out of college, and 50% of them were either unemployed or underemployed, but they still owed, like, back then on average, $26,000 in
Yeah.
student loan debt. And I was like, my God, that's a lot of money. And then how's anyone ever going to pay that back? And so financially, it just didn't seem to make any sense. So I didn't go. This is
Okay.
despite people saying, oh, you can figure it out what you want to do in college. And I was just like, it doesn't make sense to not know what you want to do and take on the debt to figure that out. I think you sure first figure out what you want to do, and then you make a plan. And if it involves student loans, okay. But if it doesn't, then don't do it, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up working a whole string of minimum wage jobs up until I was 20.
Okay.
And then I went back. I did go to community college, and then I got an online bachelor's degree from Thomas Edison in communications. And then coming out, I was working at Domino's Pizza for $7.50 an hour. So I was angry because I was just like, I was making $10 an hour before college. So anyway,
What did you teach me? You taught me how to lose money.
Yeah. And so when I moved from Texas to Boston with my husband,
Okay.
I was just like, this is so stupid. I'm very good with money management because I was earning minimum wage. I know how to save money. I can budget well. I track every penny. I'm clearly good at financial management. I think I can do accounting for a small business, because if I can do it for me, it's just on a larger scale for a business, right? I'll make sure no one rips off that business owner, right? And so I started applying to accounting jobs, and I got an offer in 7 days. And then in the job search after that, I got it in 6 days. And in the job search after that one, I got it in 5 days. And this was with recruiters just telling me, you're so unqualified.
Yeah.
You don't have the formal credential. You'll never make more than $55,000 a year. If you're lucky, you can make $60,000 a year. And then I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Do they really know what they're talking about here? Employers care much more about my character than this. So I was landing jobs, no problem. And then now that people are getting laid off, what I do is I'm online helping people land job offers in 5 days. And last week I had an immigrant actually from El Salvador who moved to California 7 years ago and only has his GED. He just commented saying that he got an offer in 14 days. So
Awesome.
Everyone in my community was so happy. I even bought a trophy, which I shipped out to him yesterday.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, yeah, I mean, I think, for me watching your YouTube videos and a lot of the stuff that you have, I think you just straight up real. I mean, I think that's the thing that you do differently is you're just real, and you're honest and straightforward and everything else. And I think that's probably what helped you get jobs. So let's talk a little bit about your main business. What is it that you primarily do?
We're actually in the transition. So primarily what I do right now is I do accounting. So I actually have a full-time, quote unquote, full-time job, but I actually spend only like 10 hours a week doing that job.
Okay.
So I still have W-2 income. And then I had an accounting firm, right, where I'm actually helping the same thing, just helping my boss, but clients instead, right?
Yep.
Just a different format. And then once I saw SVB collapse, I was just like, this is not safe. Doing accounting, people think it's secure. It's not safe because we don't know which businesses will go out of business. So I was just like, we need to pivot. And so I thought, okay, I was actually in the middle of writing the 5-day job search book. And then I had a conversation with my employees. I was like, we should capitalize on the fact that people are losing their jobs.
Mhm.
So, and make money off of the fact that they can come to us and learn from us how to land a job quickly. So now
Absolutely.
this is what I'm doing. Well, like
Okay.
we're growing this part. So it's not the main
I
thing,
love
but
it.
it's gonna grow. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, are you doing that mainly just through an online community or, I know you've got the book, but an online community, or do you have like a training program that you offer? How are you delivering that?
So we have the book, and I only launched that back in August. So it's
Okay.
only been about 5 months since I launched.
Mhm.
So, and then what I thought of first was like, I was thinking pure book sales. And then I
Mhm.
realized it took me all this time to realize nobody reads books. Like nobody buys books, right?
Mm.
It took me that long to realize.
I think Amazon would disagree with you, but
I, I know, but actually, like readers are actually a very small subset of the
Mm.
population, and
Yep.
I want to like reach millions of people
Mhm.
with this information, right? So I was getting on podcasts, and this is podcast episode interview number 108, I think.
Nice.
And it's not selling, I'll
Yeah.
admit. But in one of those videos that I made on AI headshots, that was the first time I ever said, guys, I don't take sponsorships, but I did all this research. You want to support my channel? Use my affiliate link to buy these headshots.
Okay.
And then I made $10,000 in affiliate income from just recommending the headshots. So
Yeah.
I was shocked how
Mhm.
much people are willing to spend on headshots instead of a
Yeah.
book. Um,
Yeah.
so we're gonna grow that revenue stream, and then
Mhm.
now we're thinking, since I'm posting almost every day on YouTube, but
Got
it's
it.
unorganized, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We're gonna make a section on my site where people can sign up as a member to subscribe,
Mhm.
and they can watch the videos in an organized manner. So it'll
Yeah.
be organized based on their problem. So I can earn a subscription for
Well,
that, and then
and
I'll make
people
a
will,
course.
yeah, and I mean, people will pay for that because, it's like, okay, I can go out there and try and find all the stuff. You've put the information out there, but
If
I've
it's
got to
not
go
organized,
assemble it. And
yeah,
yeah, if I can pay you 40 or $50 and I get it all organized, okay, I'll pay you for
yeah,
that. That's
basically.
awesome. Love it. So is this the first of that kind of approach that you've had, or have you done anything like that before?
I have never done this before.
Okay.
Actually, this was I had a meeting with my employee. It was her idea. I was like, I love it, because what she did was she went on other coaches' sites, and
Okay.
so we never asked the coach to teach us this. What we're doing instead is we're learning through observation. So we're
Okay.
just gonna like go on competitors who are in like totally different niche, right? Like they don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to be job coaches, right? Career
Yeah.
coaches. And then we're just gonna like take notes of
Mhm.
everything that they do. We can
Okay.
sign up for their newsletter to see how their automation works, how often they're sending it, how is their
Mhm.
copywriting and things like that. I
Sure.
mean, we learn just from researching other people how they do
Of
it.
course.
Yeah.
Well, and you also see where the holes are. The more and more you see it, you see how so much online is just people repeating the same stuff over and over again. And like in my world, the Freedom Day method that I created, everybody's like, "Oh, that's so innovative and unique." I'm like, there is nothing innovative and unique at all about what I do. It's just how I sequenced it together. And when I sequenced it together the way I did, everybody's like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." Well, it was from me looking at all the people that had been talking about this and just not, not really getting the point across or just repeating the same stupid stuff everybody else does.
Yeah. Well, that's Jeff's secret sauce.
There you go. There you go. Well, tell me a little bit about the 5-day job search. What's your secret sauce when it comes to that?
Yeah, it's as we were talking about before the interview we're having now, it's apply to
Uh-huh.
50 jobs a day. Like that is
Yeah.
one of the biggest things that I realize people are making a mistake in. They're applying to like 3 jobs a day thinking, "Oh, I'm working so hard. I'm applying
Mhm.
so many jobs." And their perception is wrong. It's not
Yeah.
rooted in reality.
Yeah.
People who think they work hard, they don't realize that relative to someone else who works extremely hard, actually they're not putting in that much effort
Not at all.
relatively to someone
Well, when you
else
think
who
about
has
that, it's like,
results.
okay, I'm doing 3 to 5 a day. What are you doing for the other 8 or 9 hours a day at
Yeah.
that point?
Or they think that they're putting in so much work because they're customizing, quote unquote, each application or
Yeah.
customizing their resume to target the employer. So they spend 1 hour on one application. So if you
Yeah.
apply to 3, you spend 3 hours. Whereas I only spend 1 hour and I'll apply to 50 because I hit the easy apply button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
So, what are some of the things in today's world? I mean, the common thing that I hear from people, and I mean, I even saw this from the back end of being a hiring manager with a lot of this, a lot of automation has happened. You've got all these job posting sites and things like that. What's some of the keys to getting past that gatekeeper, so to speak?
Your resume and your LinkedIn profile needs to be on point. So it needs to have the right keywords in there because of that automation that filters people out, and people don't do that. Like, let me give you an example. So I'm in accounting, right?
Yeah.
And what is the casual way of saying what I do at my job? I
Mhm.
process and I pay bills, right?
Yeah.
That is the casual way of saying it. That's everyday speak. But
Yeah.
you can't put that on your resume, even though
No,
that's like any high schooler can understand, because apparently the keyword is accounts payable.
that's
So
correct.
if you
Yeah.
don't have the word accounts payable on your resume, you get filtered out right away.
Yeah.
So
Accounts payable, accounts receivable, it's
right.
like I collect money or I pay out money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I remember this too. I mean, this like I said, I see it from the back end side of it. I remember I was working for a large financial firm, and I was offering a job, in Austin, where I'm from. The financial industry is not real huge. I mean, there's a couple, there's one big player and a couple little small players in town, and I was hiring a really well paid job that, pretty much you could be new in your career to get in. And I remember I'm sitting there like, okay, it's paying extraordinarily well. It was in a phone site. So, you didn't have to get dressed up or anything like that. And I'm like, I'm getting like 3 people applying for this. What the heck's going on? And it was one of these things where, well, you have to have a Series 7, which is our main license. And then a Series 66 is nice to have. Well, it was blocking out the Series 60. If you didn't have it, you didn't, boom, you're just completely out. And I'm like, why are you cutting that? That's something we can train and pay somebody to do. It's not hard to do that. So,
What people do is they're doing the job of the recruiter.
yeah.
So they're looking at the listing and then they're like, I'm not qualified, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
apply. But they don't realize it's not your job to determine whether you're qualified or not. It's
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
recruiter's job.
Yeah. So, in your method, okay, so let's say I've got to tailor my resume, my LinkedIn profile. So I'm looking for, or I'm applying for very specific jobs. Would you recommend, okay, this is my resume and I'm going to apply for, I'm in accounting. So I'm going to apply, specifically to a bunch of accounting jobs. And then if I'm willing to do something else, I need to tailor my resume over to that other industry then?
Yeah, you need one tailored resume per title. So it's not
Okay.
even per industry, it's per title.
For title.
So it
Okay.
depends on the title you're applying for. What I tell people is, I like to tell people to think like really long term in their career, what they want to do. Like I keep using the same guy over and over again, but he's working as a front desk agent at a hotel. And then
Okay.
so I asked him, well, that's like the entry level, like that's at the
Yeah.
bottom. I asked him, where do you want to go? What do you want to do with your life? And then he said, oh, it'd be nice if I became a hotel manager. And I
Okay.
was like, you don't go from there to there, right?
Then,
You need to chart the path. And I said,
mhm,
let's figure out how to get there. Like, what is the next title you apply for so that the
yeah.
next job you apply for is not front desk agent.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
You don't work the same job you were already working. And so what we did was we went on LinkedIn, we didn't buy. We got the free 30-day trial
Okay.
of LinkedIn Premium. And then with that, you can do advanced filtering and look for anyone on the site. And we filtered for people who had hotel manager as their current title. And
Got it.
then we went backwards in their career from there.
Mhm.
So wrote down a list of all the titles they had prior to that and worked all the way back. And it turns out that the next title he should apply for is, I think, front desk supervisor.
Okay. Makes
That's the
sense.
title. So it has to
Yeah.
be like a very specific title that you're going after if you
Mhm.
want to become a hotel manager and do it efficiently.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I never thought of that, but that's brilliant. Starting from, okay, where do you want to be? And then just working your way backwards to figure out, okay, what should be my career path? Because it may or may not be a career path with that one hotel you're at. It may be that, okay, now that I've got some seasoning here, now I might apply to that next position at the next, hotel.
That's right, because it might not be open. There
Yeah,
might not be an opening for front desk supervisor at
sure.
the hotel you're at. Yeah.
That's awesome. What are some of your other advice for people that are, and I mean, there's a lot of people. I keep hearing more and more layoffs, and I expect more and more later on this year. What are some other techniques or things that you would recommend for somebody that's out there looking for a job?
I think it's about rethinking your education. So
Okay.
when people get laid off, apparently the first thing they think of is like, oh, I need to upskill by going back to college. I need to get my master's degree to be more
Yeah.
competitive, or I need to take out more student loan debt, get an
Mhm.
MBA. I don't know why they start thinking this, like that this is the answer and the key to
Yeah. The
progressing
reason
in
I
their
got
career.
laid off is because I'm not smart enough. No.
But this is like what people do, right?
Yep. Oh,
Or
I
they
know.
they choose to go to school because they're like, well, I think the economy will be better 3 years from now. So
Mhm.
once I get out of school 2 to 3 years from now, it'll be better then, and so my prospects will be easier or something like that. But actually, they put themselves in a financially worse off position because of the
Yep.
debt,
Yep.
right? So it is exactly that. You first figure out what you want to do, right?
Mhm.
And that guy who said, "I wanna be a hotel manager," and he
Mhm.
said to my face, he said, "I'll never become one. I'm limited because I never got my college degree. I don't even have my associates." I met him in community college. He never
Mhm.
finished, right? And I was like, "Do you really need a bachelor's degree to become a hotel manager?" He said, "Yes." And then when I was doing the research on LinkedIn, you know what? I saw people who, yes, who had bachelor's degrees, but not even in hotel management. I saw
Yeah.
geology, biology,
Yep.
psychology, political science. I saw the whole spectrum, but I also found like a nice handful of people out of the 20 people that I researched, they
Mhm.
didn't have any college degree.
Nope.
What they got was a $3,000 certificate from
Mhm.
eCornell.
Yeah.
And that certificate took only a couple months to complete. And
Mhm.
they were just as qualified because they were working as hotel managers as
Yeah.
anybody else. So
Yeah.
the answer, the other secret I have for people is, you know, you need to shift that educational paradigm that you've been indoctrinated and conditioned with because you don't necessarily need to pay $50,000 to be in the career
No.
that you want to be in.
Well, I mean, here's another example of that. I mean, I have or I'm finishing up a degree program through MIT, and I'm doing it through the edX program. So it's the MIT MicroMasters, and all it is, it's in finance, and it's like heavily math focused finance course that's 5 courses, takes a year to do. It costs less than I think $2,000 for the thing. And if I ever wanted
That's
to go
amazing.
on, I don't know why in the hell I would, but I don't know why. If I wanted to go on, it would apply towards a full master's. But I'm like, I didn't really need that. I really needed some of the technical financial skills that I felt like I was missing. And okay, it was easy. It's simple. It's self paced. I can do it from home. I don't have to go on campus or anything else.
Yeah, that's the way this world is moving. People are taking these like micro courses and certificates.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I always tell people now is before you spend a fortune on getting a full, 4-year degree, go on Coursera, go on edX, go on any of those. I mean, you can get some massive education from some pretty high end, schools for nothing. I mean, some of them you can get them for free. You can just complete the course or you pay a small amount of money and get that certificate that says, "Hey, I went through this." And it's a great resume item to dump onto your LinkedIn or LinkedIn.
That's right.
Yeah. So, okay, so we've got you got to get off your lazy butt and apply to some stuff. You've got to chart your career path. You've got to not worry about the education. What else is another thing that we would want to know?
The other thing is, I mentioned a bit about it before, but it's the AI headshots. Not to
Okay.
push the affiliate income that I earn from it, but no, it is what makes a difference because the headshot is actually what makes the first impression. So
Okay.
what people say is like, but what should matter is what's on the inside, right?
Mhm.
Like it's this should be a merit-based society where opportunities are given to people who are the most capable and experienced. But like the thing is, we're also human and we have biases, like we have
Mhm.
bias. We judge people before they open their mouths,
Mhm.
right? And the instant we see somebody, we place that judgment on whether we want to get to know them more. And so it's important to work on your appearance. And the thing is, with the internet age, your appearance is your headshot. It is
Mhm.
the one photo, the thumbnail that people see of you. So
Sure.
I tell people you got to get this professionally done. It's you get it done in person with a real photographer. It's $500,
Yeah.
but there are AI options out there these days where you could pay between $30 and $100, and you can have a very nice looking headshot based on iPhone selfies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, I mean, AI is changing the world. I mean, I just am finishing a book, and I mean, all the illustrations in the book were created with AI. And it's easy. I mean, you just go in. Sometimes it takes a little tweaking, but I mean, I think it's the world, and I do agree with you. I mean, I think there's so many people that you go on and look at their LinkedIn headshot, and it's like, why were you thinking? Let's put something on there that relates to you a little bit. So we'll make sure we put your link to that. What is the headshot software that you use, or the AI headshot?
The one I recommend, it's called Dreamwave AI. That's the
Okay.
number one. And
Okay.
the number two that I recommend is called Try It On AI. So
Okay.
Dreamwave AI is best overall around, simply because the outfits that they give you and then the backgrounds look very professional for LinkedIn. Try
Sure.
It On AI, their software is such that you would actually fall for it and it would look very realistic and like you. But the problem is, it looks like it's more suited for a fashion magazine.
Oh.
So the context is
Yeah.
not the same. So it's
Sure.
more realistic, but not as professional.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it could be, depending on who, if it depends on who you are, or what the job is you're trying to get, that may be it. That may be the route you want to go. So that's the path that you've been going. What type of programs are you offering? It sounds like you do some personal coaching as well as some of these, eventual programs.
Yeah, I've been coaching people one on one. I was doing it for free because I
Okay.
wanted to get some experience. Really wanted to figure out what's so difficult. Why are people struggling
Yeah.
so much? Now that like I see like people have the same problem over and over again, I'm just like,
Hmm.
now I can make that course. So we're gonna do a 5-day job search makeover boot camp or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the process
Nice.
of making that. Yeah.
I love that. Well, and I mean, with all the tools that you're assembling, I think it's going to help a lot of people. So I wish you well on that. Well, let's transition now to the fast five questions. You ready?
Right.
All right. So you wake up in the morning. Question one: wake up in the morning, business is gone. You have a laptop computer, place to stay, $500 in your pocket. What are you going to do first?
I think the first thing I do is I get on Squarespace and I pay $16 to get a website up and running. You can use a template. You'll have a website up and running by the end of the day. That's basically just to put my contact information up and what I'm
Yeah.
capable of doing. And then at that point, it's time to start calling people up.
Hmm.
Really, that's the same thing as applying to 50 jobs a day, but for a business instead, it would just be calling up small businesses locally and asking them, do they want bookkeeping services done?
Okay.
So that's really, I would spend the $16, and then the rest of that I would just keep in my savings account.
What do you mean? I mean, you wouldn't spend like $3,000, $4,000 on a web page and
No,
everything
no.
else?
Keep it simple. Let me tell you what my mom did. My mom, she sells a product. I can't tell you what it is, but she didn't even have business cards. She took a pack of 100 envelopes that you could buy from the dollar store. And when I
Hmm.
was a kid, she would make me handwrite her contact information, her name, and her phone number. That was it on the envelope. And then when she was selling her product, she would stick the product in the envelope, door to door, and she'd be like, "Do you want to buy this product for $5?" And then
That is
they would buy it, and
hilarious.
she's like, "Oh, by the way, you want to reorder? That's my phone number right there."
That is brilliant.
There, she spent one
Absolutely
dollar.
brilliant. There you go. Yeah, $1 for the pack of them turned it into potentially $50 or more. Second question: what's your biggest business mistake you've ever made?
The biggest mistake is I never got people on my newsletter.
Okay.
So even with the following I have on YouTube and all the templates and the resources, downloadables that I made along the way for the videos, and I said, guys, if you want to download this thing that is complementary to this video, head over to my website. I never put it behind an email wall.
Yeah.
I never did that. And I regret it now because with all the censorship that's going on these days on the internet and people getting
Mhm.
deplatformed from social media, I realized, wait, this isn't mine. YouTube is
Mhm.
not mine. TikTok is
Nope.
not mine. It's not mine unless they are in my email list and in my phone book as well.
That's exactly right. Well, that or behind in your own community or something like that, which I mean, I've seen a rise in, some of these community softwares that are out there where you can build your own community. And that's really what I've been doing, with this show and with other ones I do. It's like I'm going to pay somebody that's going to say, hey, I'm going to maintain your community for you because you're absolutely right. I mean, Facebook looks at that person as their client, not yours. YouTube, same thing. All the social media, those are their clients, not yours, even though you're the one that grew that audience. Okay. So, question number 3, what is a book that you would recommend for our audience?
I would recommend the book Your Press Release is Breaking My Heart. So a lot of other books in the business category, they're like really inspirational, motivational, and they're not filled with practical, tactical advice that you can actually follow today.
Sure.
But Your Press Release is Breaking My Heart is a book that I read where you could actually walk away with things you could use for PR for your own company.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's the first time I've heard that one. So that's fantastic. We'll have that in the show notes page. Question number 4, what is a tool that you use in your business that you might recommend?
Well, that's so hard to answer. Oh my gosh. I guess
Pick one.
I have to say my iPhone, right?
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
one I started off with when I first started was my iPhone. I literally just took a video with my iPhone for my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So, yeah, you got to start
Love it.
small, simple.
Hey, well, I mean, but once again, it's amazing how in 12 years we've gone from, basically a phone that you could just type of, text if you were lucky to something that, I mean, I can run my whole business from my iPhone simply. Yeah. I mean, definitely could do it if I needed to. Last question. What is your definition of freedom?
It is the ability to think and believe in what you want. So nobody can impose that on you. Like
Mhm.
even if they forced you to physically do things in a like a totalitarian or authoritarian state, like for
Mhm.
example, the last freedom that nobody can ever take away from you is your ability to think for yourself.
Love it.
You might not speak it, but you can believe it in your heart.
Yeah. And that's true freedom. I mean, everything revolves around that. So wonderful answer. I love that. Well, Annie, thank you so much for being on today. If somebody wants to follow you, look, learn more about you, what's the best place to go?
The best place to go is by going to AnieYangFinancial.com. That's
Mhm.
ANIEYANG financial.com. And you can check out the 5-day job search audiobook. I know you're for business owners here, but everything I talked about today is actually in the book, and the audiobook is free. So head
Mm,
over to AnieYangFinancial.com, and at the top, click on audiobook to download the book.
brilliant. I love it. Well, Annie, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. I love your strategies, and I think you're going to help a lot of people with it. So thanks a lot for being on, and we'll folks, we do these interviews for you. We're glad to share them with you. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you give us a little upvote, and in addition to that, give us a comment. Love to have some conversations with you. We've been having some cool conversations on YouTube and through the different podcast channels. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys back here the very next time.
All in, everything